You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Life advice is about to start. Before we do that, we got to check in with everybody's new fitness guru with an incredible filter today. All right, Kyle, we left you Monday. We had back injuries. The sneezing was like, it was tough for me to watch you sneeze. I was in pain watching you sneeze. You're supposed to work out with the Nigerian guy. It has been 48 hours.
So I'm actually doing this standing up. I got a standing desk. It's been real bad.
Nice.
Been doing a lot of laying on the floor, and not because I've been having too much fun, if you know what I mean.
Ew.
I've learned how to sneeze from some guy on Instagram who told me to, honestly, you should see me sneeze now. It's hilarious. I have to lean back and keep my mouth open and look at the ceiling when I sneeze. So that's part of the reason I got this filter, just in case I have to do it. So it won't look so crazy. But no, I didn't go. I wrote the pod description lying on the floor yesterday. It was real bad. I got a doctor's appointment on Friday. It's a little better today. I'm just trying not to sit at all. So there'll be no Bannerlords today. That's been the hardest part about all this.
So you didn't work out?
No, dude. No, because I was seated for that whole time while I was giving the thing. And I was like, all right, this hurts pretty bad while I'm seated. And then when I got up to smoke my cigarette while the Zoom call transcribes the video or whatever, converts it, I was like, oh, holy shit. And it just got worse and worse as I was making my way to my little balcony. And I don't know, it seemed crazy to me to go. And it was probably as bad as it's been. I woke up feeling a little better today, but I realized after I sit down for a while, it's getting crazy. So I called Tate because he's got notorious back problems yesterday. Turns out he's got other shit that's not the same. He's got like a high rib cage or something. I don't know, but it's not what's going on with me. I got a thing on Friday. Maybe I'll get some opiates or just some muscle relaxers. Who knows how we're gonna get through this? But I'm just gonna I'm standing right now, and what can you do?
So does your guy think you're ducking him though? Like, did he call you out and be like, "Hey, man, you've made like 3 or 4 excuses every time we've had to work out"? Like,
I'm going to show up today, and just see what's going on with him. I don't know. I don't think
he'll see you're in rough
I think
shape.
the other thing is he's not really worried because he's the door guy at Frolic Room. When he sees me, he's gonna be like, "All right, I'm going to leave work now." That's basically his new plan. So if he doesn't see me, he'll just work and make his money. Like, it's really like. It's all very convenient for him how this has worked out. So,
Wow. Okay, I think that's the update we were all looking for.
yeah, it's all right, guys. It'll happen. Though.
Hey, don't be. I want you to go buy supplements though, as a motivating factor. I'll Venmo you $100.
Like vitamin C drops. No,
that's good. That's smart.
That's not a supplement.
They taste great.
It says
They
supplement
taste great,
drops.
too.
Yeah, it tastes great.
No, but I want you to kind of like do the supplement buy, and then they're there. So now you're like, all right, now I have to, a little pre-workout, a couple, protein in the morning or something. So
Pre-workout
now you feel like,
sounds bad, dude. It doesn't sound good.
that's like when I bought all my script writing books because I was finishing up college, and I was like, all right, look out, LA.
My stepdad had No Explode lying around when I was in high school. Was it NO Explode or No Explode?
It was Knox, right? But yeah,
it was
No
NO
Explode.
Explode. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Your stepdad was a big pre-workout guy.
Yonkers Fire. He says he could bench 500 at some point. Yeah, he was like a bear of a man. So I don't know. I was like, I guess this is for me too, huh? And I was just like, why the fuck am I continuing to take this? But I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Don't love
Let's
the
get
idea
to the
of
life
pre-workout.
All right. Well, anti-pre-workout, pro a few other things.
Yeah.
Here we go. Lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. This one's a bit, he wants us to use his fake name. Is Cray? I don't know. Who knows? Professional.
You can always refuse their fake name. You could give your own fake name.
Right. Okay. 25. He said he's a professional poker player. For the last 4 months or so, I was seeing an older woman about double my age, attractive, outgoing, met her playing poker. She's probably the only person I know that was. This one gets a little graphic.
Okay.
For this, so I try to edit. I'm just still not 100% sure where I am with the all in. I'm talking about other guys having sex because I don't know if I want to do that kind of podcast.
A little
I
weird.
wouldn't.
No, I'm not letting some prude about it, but I don't know. Maybe it's the Disney in me. Maybe it's the ESPN. I mean, clearly I don't mind swearing and going a little more PG-13, but I just feel like the podcast, it's like, hey, did you hear Russillo's breakdown of Phoenix's clutch numbers? You'd be like, yeah, but what about that hand job story you told? So I don't really want to be that guy on the far end of it, but you guys write in whatever you want and I'll self-edit on the fly, which is why sometimes it sounds like I can't read. All right. So this woman was, let's say, good to go
Got it.
as often as he wanted to get down. And he said every single day. Eventually it got too serious for me. I don't love her, so I broke things off. All right. So they had sex a ton. Congrats.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of this email is my massage addiction. I had a person I could have sex with every single day, multiple times a day, but I wasn't as happy as when I am when I get my massages. I go for the massages because of my back from playing poker all day. Kyle, we should hook you guys up.
Yeah, what's your zip code, dude?
Right. Obviously, there's a little bonus going to these places, and I can't stop. I go every single day. How do I stop this? Clearly, getting a girlfriend isn't the answer. What do I do? Keep spending $100. He's spending a couple $100 on these massages every day. I'm dead serious. And he said, this is not a joke. I don't know. We're never 100% sure.
That's a red
on
flag
these.
if I've ever seen one. It's not a joke, I swear.
Well, we read it, so whatever.
Yeah.
How would we handle this? I have a friend. I think we all have one guy in our group that you're like, yeah, all right. That's kind of your speed. That's what you do. I have a friend who blew out his knee and then tried to find somebody that was in his HMO to get rehab, and his insurance ended up paying for him to go to an adult massage parlor for like a year. They paid for every single one of them. Like once he was over his deductible.
Then they found out after a year or what?
No, they didn't
No.
know. They didn't know. So guys were like, why are you going there all the time? Like, you're not even that much of an athlete.
Don't worry about it, dude.
And he was like, I got to get this right. I got to get this right.
I'm really dedicated
And then
to my
the
rehab.
place got raided. And he was like, boys, it was a good run.
My
And I
God.
was like,
My
wow.
God.
Okay. We're like, all right. This is a long time ago. I don't know. I don't, obviously, if this were my speed, I wouldn't admit it, but it isn't. So I don't really, I would say this. At some point, you're going to have to stop doing this. I don't know how but you can't have a normal relationship with any woman if this is what you're also doing. Okay. Like if all the reasons why I've heard of people getting divorced, I remember I heard some story about a couple where the woman married the guy and then it didn't work out. And they were like, they're separated, but they're trying to work it out. And I was like, what's the problem? She's like, he's addicted to hookers, just addicted. She leaves for work. He calls one up. I'm like, middle of the day? Like, this guy's a psychopath. So I don't know. It's an addiction in a way that's different. Like if you were drinking all the time, you were waking up and your life isn't going to be normal, right? You're not going to be operating under the confines of how other people are doing their day to day. And you can't make any big boy decisions until that part is figured out and you make a change. It's not the same because it's not like you look like shit, probably walking around feeling great. But it's the same in that it's consuming your life and that the rest of the decisions are all impacted by this in ways that maybe you're not even processing, but you will not be able to talk to somebody normally. I don't know that you'll be able to care for somebody normally. If that's what your goal is to get back to this, it sounds like you're just kind of pissed off about being out a couple $100 every day. But if your goal is to actually be like a normal guy, which again, this isn't super normal. Sorry. For the massage parlor enthusiasts out there listening to the podcast, I'm sorry if you feel like I'm being critical, but I don't know. You can have this in your life every single day and make like the normal parts work. So, good luck.
Yeah, I think too much of anything is a bad thing, as you said. I'd say this is squarely in that category. I don't know. It sounds like it's costing you a ton of money. And what if you like knocked it down to like whenever you get your toenails clipped or something, like, that's what I do. I don't get manicures, I get pedicures. And then I throw on a little 10-minute leg massage on there. So maybe that's what you could do, and find a place that's close to your favorite spot and just try to knock it down to once a month as like as a
Just
thing.
wean you off like a little methadone version of this. where you
Yeah, just
go,
like make it try to make it as part of like another sort of thing that you're doing for yourself cosmetically. Like that's what I just don't like cutting my toenails. Not a big fan. You know. So
wait, what?
I mean, I do cut my own toenails sometimes. Like sometimes I shape up myself, but I'd rather go to a barber to do it. So I'm just saying, like, if you maybe, I mean, if I don't know, I just say try to like roll it into something else that you do on like a quarterly basis or monthly basis at best, and then just to show you'll be okay. Just to show
Maybe a
you will
chart.
be okay.
Yeah, get an Excel sheet going. Be like, all right.
Yeah, because cold turkey is going to be pretty hard to stop. No pun intended. It's going to be pretty hard to stop doing that. But I will say, I have a buddy who kind of dabbles in this stuff, and my friend group talks about. He's single. He's also a guy who lost 20 grand on a bachelor party he went to in Vegas. So he just kind of is involved in this sort of behavior, and he's single. And we always talk about like it's a chicken or the egg thing. Like, is he this way because he isn't in a relationship, or is he not in a relationship because he does all of this stuff? And I actually think he does it because he's not in a relationship and he kind of feels bad for himself. So I think you got to try to find somebody, even if it's just a consistent hookup thing, to get that out of your system, because otherwise it's too easy for you to go there and pay every time you go, right? So I think you need to find some companionship, man. That would be my advice.
I was going to suggest maybe a sex toy, but it sounds like he just needs two people involved in this thing. So
yeah, we're good. We're good now. I'm not, Kyle. I don't want you to be frustrated. Your facial expression, which I can't quite figure out with today's filter, I don't want you to feel like your input was put off. But I don't know what I.
No, it was just my.
We're
first
good.
thought.
I think we covered it. I think Cerruti did nail something though on the chicken or the egg thing. But I kind of revert back to. I think we end up making decisions that we all want to make. Like deep down, even though we may not have the things that we want to, we make the decisions that put us in that position. And you're like, oh, okay. Like you just like this, dude. You'd like doing this. It's so maybe you're not motivated to change because the other thing you think you want, you don't really actually want. And so this is it fills the void a little bit, but you're not willing to make any other changes to actually get out of this because this is what you want to do right now. And I don't know how long that's going to last. All right.
Shout out to cigarettes.
There you go. You have the best writers, Kyle. I don't know. You need to be doing something with like some late night TV shows. I was watching some of those I Think You Should Leave sketches last night.
It's so good.
Have you watched the haunted house one? It's Tim Robinson, right?
I've seen them all. Yeah, I've seen them all. My dad loves them too.
The haunted house one is so fucking funny. And I didn't know. I had never seen it before. Like, I'm not a huge, obviously, I just checked myself for potentially forgetting his name. But I've seen some of the clips, and obviously I've seen all the memes. He's a huge meme guy.
Yeah.
But that haunted house thing where he just starts swearing and saying dirty words because they said it's the adult tour and you can say whatever you want.
Yes.
It's the first time he says a word, I was howling because again I didn't expect it, and the timing and the way they did it all was terrific. So there you go. I think you should leave.
It's some of the best times I have with my dad. I went home August, and like we kind of like the same stuff, but he's always watching stuff with his wife, and it's just like, this is my life now. I watch house shows, and what can I do? She doesn't like stuff with swords, so I don't watch it. And so it was like these things are so short, and we were just laughing so hard, and it was so good. The nachos. Can you just tell her the rule of the nachos? And I don't know if you've seen it, but it's just
I haven't seen that one.
Anybody who is pressed for watching stuff with your dad, he's going to be in immediately, whoever your dad is, and it's just great bonding time. That's all I'll say.
The one with Will Forte is like, I don't think it's the best skit, but like the guy on the plane who like gets back at the baby, that is so genius to me. Like, I'm not saying it's my favorite one, but just the idea of that is so stupid funny that it's honestly like the perfect skit.
Where he dresses up like the guy and goes to the mall and it's like they're making fun of. I think they're
I
making
don't want to
fun
be
of
here anymore.
No.
we my dad and I have that catchphrase. He's just like, I don't want to be around anymore. That's just what he says to me.
I love that one. Are you kidding?
No, the best one,
face off.
The one. What about the one where he's in the courtroom, right? And they just keep making fun of his hat, and like the lawyer keeps reading about like this guy and his stupid hat, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? That to me is the best one.
Yeah, because that's kind of what it is. It's just, all right, we're going to put you in a normal setting, but there's going to be this one thing that you can't get over. You're obsessing over. And again, there's some different stuff there too. But when he's at the haunted house, I haven't seen enough of him. I need to go back. We should try to get him on. I don't know. Does he do a lot of stuff? I thought I saw an interview where they said SNL passed on him, which I could kind of see because his comedy.
Well, he was on SNL. He was a writer on SNL.
Oh, he's a writer. Oh,
yeah.
I thought somebody said he tried out and it didn't to be.
No,
on air.
I think I could be wrong, but I think he was on one of the late night shows like Kimmel or Fallon or somebody, and he was talking about like how they didn't use his skits. They didn't like using his skits, and like he was.
That's
like,
what it was.
And they're like, that's interesting because your skits are kind of better than SNL skits now. And
but the
weird,
time
but yeah.
it takes. So the kind of skits like you have to let them play out. You know, when he's in the haunted house and it just starts with like, yeah, you can say whatever you want. For you to, we're kind of killing this for anybody who hasn't watched, so we'll finish here for a second. But he's in a haunted house tour. There's a tour guide who's like a goth dude who's super into the haunted house and the history of all the people who've died in this house. It's just a bunch of other tourists, you know, randos everywhere. And they're like, you can say whatever you want. And then it just every time he raises his hand, he's like, did any of these fuckers ever? Because he's so pumped to be swearing. And they have to pull him aside. Anyway, there you go. Go ahead, check that out. There you go. Full endorsement. All right, last one here. Late request for reimbursement. Dun dun dun. 28, 6'4", 220, bald, beard. What up?
Nice.
Nice.
Good look.
Nice
Underrated
dude.
look.
Nice dude. Wish we all could be 6'4", man. Imagine we were all 6'4", just walking around. Will we all get along? A little bit more?
Would you rather be 6'6"? Well, I know your answer, Ryan. Would you rather be 6'6" or 5'7"?
Dude, don't even. You're banned from the pod
That's
for 1
crazy.
week.
All right, because I think
That's
6'6",
crazy.
like Van Pelt always said 6'6" was like abnormally tall.
No, he's 6'7". He says 6'6" because he thinks 6'7" is weirdo town. But he's
might be
6'7".
right.
I kind of get it. Like, there's a point where you reach if you're not an athlete where you're too tall, and it's like kind of weird. Like, I'm not saying it's Van Pelt that way, but I think there is a lot. What's the cutoff line? I don't know.
I just don't hear a lot of women ever saying, I'd like to meet somebody just under average height. I don't hear that a lot.
All right, what if I made it 5'10"?
No, I'm still out.
Still taking 6'7"? Okay.
That's an awesome question, though. If we go outside of what's the tall that's too tall where you go, no, I'll be 5'9".
Not only too tall, but like you're not an athlete. You're just a guy.
Well, maybe not yet.
All right, you're your current age, so you can't become a professional athlete. What is the height that is too tall that you're like, actually,
again,
be 5'10"?
Not yet. I mean, you know, if I were 6'10", you think if I were 6'10", do you think I'd be talking to any of you guys?
I think whatever height where my organs are like have like a shorter life than the regular person. That's when I'm like, all right, that's too tall. Like, I don't know if his heart's cut out for this. I think
you know
that's
what?
too
That's
tall.
a really mature answer from Kyle that I didn't expect. Is you got to start worrying about organ failure. At what point is organ failure a real question?
Yeah,
By the way,
problems.
the reason the 6'10" thing happened because I told you about my one buddy who's a couple years older than me. He was a pretty good high school football player, and he wasn't huge by any means. But when he would get hammered, his go-to would he'd be like, if I were 6'5", I wouldn't be talking to you fucking guys. He'd be blacked out. He would only do it when he was blacked out. So he'd be like, wow, there's some weird deep thing where once you get that banged up, like you start going. And I just always thought it was one of the funniest things ever. He would just.
Well, you know how many guys at the Y that are like 5'10" that are like, oh, if I was just 6'5", I'd be in the NBA. And you're like, you know how many guys say that? Like,
Yeah.
no.
How many 6'5" guys actually aren't in the NBA? All right, so back to it. No, that's a good question though. Is Rudy, would you?
I'm 5'10", so you guys are all taller than me.
What about 5'8"? Would you do 5'8" or 7 feet?
5'8". Am I in the NBA? If I'm in the NBA, I'd rather be 7 feet. But your life is harder. Am I a millionaire? Sure, but like, there's still some girls out there that like short guys. You know, what's the average girl? It's like 5. You know, 5. You get a gymnast.
5'7",
like 4'11". You're fine.
Gymnast.
Yeah,
I don't know.
7 feet.
Well, you
real
just said
life.
no to 6'6", so let's just move on. We just
All right,
moved on.
fine.
Yeah, all right. Okay, here we go. This guy's 6'4", 220. I think we covered it. About a month ago, I got invited by a friend to sit in an all-you-can-eat suite college basketball game in a pretty cool city. We'll leave it out with 12 other guys, all around the same age. My friend won the suite during a golf outing. Has no connection whatsoever to the owners of the box. Pre-visit, we were told, all right, so we're talking about 12, 13 guys, same age. Guy wins the suite, doesn't pay for the suite. All right. Pre-visit, we were told alcohol would not be included. As suite rookies, our crew was shocked to find that when we got into the suite, there was a fully stocked refrigerator filled with tons of drinks, beer, wine, seltzer, even soft drinks. As you can imagine, we all had a couple of drinks, with some guys really getting after it, and others having a relaxed night out. Even if everyone was drinking moderately, 2 beers apiece for about 15 guys at the stadium prices are not cheap. And we know some guys had way more than 2 beers. Fast forward to the group text the next day when the guy that won the suite is telling us that we all need to throw in $75 a piece to cover the alcohol consumed. I personally had 3 beers. Should I eat the loss and just pretend in my mind I'm paying for tickets, or say something about paying for some other fuck sticks night out? I guess some would say I'm on the outside of this friend group. It could also be said that I did the impossible by infiltrating this group at 28. But thanks to an awesome bachelor party, a couple great weddings, just always being down to do anything and have a good time, I've gotten to be super close with most of the group. Love the pod. Keep up the good work. All right. You just answered your own question, man. You're in with this friend group. You're psyched about being into the friend group. You worked it in at a later age at 28. You got invited to a suite, so you didn't pay for the tickets on top of everything else. Yes, I know it sucks when you're the adult and you're like, I just want to have a couple beers. I'm not in a contest to see how many beers I can race through by the time they kick us out of the suite. $75 for 3 beers is too much. But you know what? Friendship costs? We don't even have a number for that.
Not
right?
being that guy,
Yeah,
that's worth $75.
And especially if you're the new guy. So you want to make waves as the new guy that's been welcomed into this group by saying, hey, that's kind of bullshit. I get it. There's a part of me too that would go, hey, I had a couple beers, now I got to pay $75 for this whole thing. But let's talk about all of the costs. Let's talk about insurance. Let's talk about transportation. Let's talk about refrigeration. Let's talk about lease agreements. All right. You need to understand the full cost of stuff. And your full cost of being in this crew, which again was a free suite. And yeah, some guys tank the beers and the ratios are all off. Venmo them the $75. All right. That's it. Anybody?
I would agree. I think I would assume you spend at least $100 on a night like that. So the fact that it was under $100, if you said like $300, I'd be like, that's a little aggressive. But I don't know, man. Like, it's just part of the night. It's part of going out. Like, yeah, you get the free suite, but like, think about, you have to, put that in there. I would say $75 is nothing. Move on.
Yeah, I'm prepared to be completely hosed whenever I go out with a group of people. So I'm just prepared. I'm prepared for the worst always.
And they got to eat. They got to eat too.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Here's
I
the
don't
thing.
know
Like,
why.
on the surface, you'd be like, you get to hang out with your friends in a suite, and it only costs you $75. Have a couple beers. Like, you take that every single time.
We have too many guys, man, that have an obsession with the ledger book of life, where you're just always worried. If you have good friends, it usually evens out, except for one guy who's always sucks in the group. And I'm not even accusing you of being that guy, but I don't know.
The shoe fits.
Yeah. And you usually have a side group text without that guy on it to talk about him.
I'd pay $75 for 12 cool friends.
12? That's too many. I can't have 12 friends.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're sitting at a bar at your own tab, like, that's a controllable thing. But if you decide to go out to a place where you're not in control, you just got to be ready to be host. And you weren't even host, so that's the good news.
Yeah, and no offense, but like, anybody who starts going like, hey guys, how are we doing the bill? Like, you always lose. You always lose in that spot. And I know there's going to be so many people listening to this who are like, hey, that's bullshit. The guy only had 3 beers. It does. Okay, how many suites have you been invited to lately? Check in with your suite stats too if you're going to debate that we're wrong on this one. That's life advice. Kyle, Steve, what's up? We've got a great show on Friday. We're going to talk with Van about a million different things. Van Lathan, who we just love having on the pod whenever we can. And also Austin Rivers, NBA player. Fired up, unless they cancel, because NBA players sometimes don't always show up to their Zooms. But we have a lot of hope for this one. Thanks. Subscribe, listen, Spotify, Ringer Podcast.